My approach to Spock changed in Star Trek 2009, explains Leonard Nimoy. Leonard Nimoy played Spock again in Star Trek 2009 almost 20 years after he last played the Vulcan, and he explains his new approach to Spock. Leonard Nimoy explains his different approach to playing Spock in J.J. Abrams' Star Trek 2009. Prior to Nimoy donning Spock's Vulcan ears in Abrams' Star Trek reboot movie, the last time the legendary actor played his Vulcan alter ego was in 1991 when Spock appeared in both Star Trek: A Next Generation's Unification two-parter and Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country. Nimoy played Spock about 80 years apart in Star Trek VI and TNG, but Star Trek 2009 called for a totally new performance of Spock by Nimoy. In the Star Trek oral history, The 50-Year Mission, The Next 25 Years by Mark A. Altman and Edward Gross, Leonard Nimoy details how his approach to playing Spock changed, and how, when Zachary Quinto's portrayal of a younger Spock in the alternate Kelvin timeline, Star Trek 2009 contains a very broad spectrum of Spock's character. Read Nimoy's fascinating quote below. What happened to Leonard Nimoy's Spock in J.J. Abrams' Star Trek movies? Leonard Nimoy's Ambassador Spock, also referred to as Spock Prime, ends up being a tragic figure in J.J. Abrams' Star Trek movies. Spock Prime inadvertently helped create the alternate Kelvin timeline when his attempt to use red matter to avert the Romulan supernova in 2387 failed. Romulus destruction swept Nero, Eric Bana, and Spock's starships into a time portal that deposited them in the 23rd century. Nero's arrival in 2233, 25 years before Spock materialized, and his destruction of the USS Kelvin created an entirely new timeline where events of Star Trek, the original series and beyond, happened at an accelerated pace. After he arrived in the alternate Kelvin timeline, Spock Prime helped James T. Kirk, Chris Pine, to defeat Nero by advising him to elicit the younger Spock's help. Ambassador Spock then met his doppelganger and devoted himself to repopulating the Vulcan population of New Vulcan. In Star Trek Into Darkness, Spock Prime told Commander Spock the tragic story of how his USS Enterprise crew defeated Khan Noonien Singh, Ricardo Montalban, which informed the younger Spock how to beat the Kelvin timeline's Khan, Benedict Cumberbatch. Sadly, Ambassador Spock never